Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation, all right? And those are the names of who the world ignorantly calls God, the Heavenly Father, and Jesus, His only begotten Son, all right? Who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, all right? So as you see by the topic, make time for what matters, all right? And this is going to be a spiritual rant as we are live in Washington, D.C., the state capitol. You know, we're going to talk and walk for a little bit and make use of this time, because why? It matters, all right? So let's get up and walk. All right. So as it says in, what is that? Luke 12:34. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So what matters to you, all right? That's the question. What matters to you, all right? Because you can make time for everything in the world, but it seems like our people can't really make time for this truth, all right? But that's the only thing that's going to keep you stable, all right, for the times that's coming, is this truth. So it would behoove you to do just that. Make time for that which matters, all right? And to have the sanity in a world full of chaos is going to be what matters, see? But the Lord doesn't work on your schedule, okay? You have to sacrifice. You have to be willing to serve Him with your whole heart, all right? Because as we see, as we get closer and closer to the end of this thing, hey, either you're going to have salvation or you're going to be destroyed, all right? Now, we here in D.C. and the gas prices don't seem to be too out of control compared to the rest of the country, but nevertheless, the time is coming where it's going to be whoever is serving the Lord is going to be taken care of, and whoever isn't is going to be evident, all right? By what? By the lack of, by the lack of those that aren't being provided for, all right? So we just got to pray that we on the right side of this equation, okay? Because what matters, you make time for it, all right? No matter how busy you are out of your day, you can make time, all right? And if you can't, restructure your schedule so that you can make time for this word, all right? Whether you're making a video on your lunch break, as I'm currently doing, whether you're making a video, you know, in your spare time. It also says, he that has little time shall become what? Wise, all right? Much business, it says, I'm roughly paraphrasing, but it's in the Apocrypha, if I'm not mistaken, in Sirach, it could be 39 or a little bit further, but it says, he that has little business shall become wise. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me get that. Let me pull that up and let's see, all right? Let's see, because we on lunch, but we still, hey, making time for what matters. So let me get that in Ecclesiasticus, all right? Give me a second to pull that up. I want to get that precept, okay? So let's see. He who has little time. He who has little business shall become wise. Because you can't get too proud in this truth, man. You know, the thing that the Lord can give you opportunities and can't take them back from you. See, you got to be careful. That's why it says, feed me food convenient for me, all right? Lest I be full and deny the Lord, all right? So let's get that. He who has little business. Let me read that. Yeah, it's Ecclesiasticus 38:24. It reads, the wisdom, it says, nope, come on now. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach 38:24. It reads, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise. See? So you got to make time for what matters, all right? What matters in this overall grand scheme of things is us working out our own salvation with fear and trembling, see? So if you're not working out your own salvation as you should in this time of grace and mercy, then who do you have to blame when all hell breaks loose? Because why? You didn't seek what matters. You was too busy. You was trying to get the next promotion, you know? And that's all fine and dandy, but you got to put things into perspective, all right? You got to give praise and honor and glory to the man above that allowed you to get in that position, all right? To get your daily bread, because why? Time is going to come when, guess what? We're going to have to wing ourselves off of this system and what? Completely rely on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, see? And that's what we're preparing for right now. We're preparing for that time, all right? Because just as you see people going out their way like nothing's going to happen, one day it's going to change, all right? And everybody's going to lose their mind. Because why? They're not grounded in this truth, all right? They're not grounded and rooted in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, see? And it's going to be evident in that day that what? The Lord is either providing for you or he's setting you up to be what? Taken out, all right? So we just got to continue to work out our own salvation with what? Fear and trembling, see? You make time for what matters. That's why we started out with St. Luke 12:34. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So what are you more concerned and, worried about? You concerned and worried about that big promotion? Are you concerned and worried about salvation? Okay? Because just as you can guarantee the night gonna come and the day gonna rise, this man's kingdom, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man kingdom, is coming to an end, all right? And we in the early stages of it, all right? If you can't see it, if you can't measure the time diligently in itself, just stick around long enough, okay? But see, by that time, it's going to be way too late, see? What we're doing right now, as those that are fighting to endure to the end, to be counted worthy, to be part of that number, the elect, we making our calling and election sure, see? For if you do this, you should never fail. See? So this is why it matters, okay? What we doing now. Because we could be doing any and everything, any and everything that we could be doing, it could be doing. All right? But the fact of the matter is that we fear the Lord, man. So guess what? With that being said, we're going to make our best to make our calling and election sure, all right? Every time we get an opportunity, whether it's a sit down, whether it's a talk and walk, whether it's going live, as the spirit compels us to do something, hey, we gonna do it, man. Because why? It works out for those that fear the Lord, see? And this is what we're doing, all right? Because why? The Lord wants to see, the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, wants to see our willingness, okay? When we get those free times, when we get those times when we could be, partying and bullshitting, what are we doing? We're out here growing closer and closer to this truth, this word, all right? Because despite what you believe, it's time sensitive, all right? It's time sensitive. It's not going to be here until the end of the world. And the fact and the matter that you think it is, like you're going to just pick up and see a servant, a prophet out there prophesying. No. The time is coming when the Lord is going to have his servants, his prophets, mouths, tongues cleaving to their roof, and they're not going to be giving warnings anymore. See, those times are fastly approaching. All right, so we're trying to suck up all this information like a sponge. Okay, so this is what matters to us as those that are fighting to endure to the end, man. Getting this truth, this wisdom, this knowledge, this stability. Because you go through what? An ER, you go through a crash, and what do? They put you on stabilizers to stabilize your baseline. Well, this is what this truth is preparing for us to do. It's stabilizing us, okay, for what's to come, okay? So we just here, until that time, doing what we have to do, all right? So that's going to pretty much be it. It was a short walk and talk, just in the spirit, doing what we can while we can. And until the next time, what matters? What matters is doing the work, okay? And not doing it deceitfully, but doing it to the best of our ability. Because the Lord knows our heart, man. He knows whether you putting in 110% or you just doing the bare minimum, if that. So you got to always do the most what you can do. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and end on that note. With that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.
Vino la tigresa y se comió los